안녕하세요. 네, 처음 뵙습니다. 예, 북에서 왔습니다. 제가 저 북에 있을 때 한번 좀 이거 현정화 감독님을 꼭 만나보고 싶었는데 지금 어떻게 지내세요?
저는 이제 아직도 지도자, 선수들을 가르치는 지도자 하고 있습니다.
아, 그래요?
여기가 지금 저희 선수들이에요. 너네들 인사 좀 드려.
아, 이거 남과 북이나 똑같네. 이거 탁구 선수들은 다 예쁘게 생겼어. 예? 그때 저 현정화 감독님하고 북의 리브니 선수하고 그때 그 유일팀을 만들어가지고 역사상 처음으로 중국팀을 그때 이기지 않았어요?
그렇죠.
예.
아주 오래됐고, 저도 선수 생활, 지도 생활 통틀어서 아주 기억에 남는 그 대회 중에 하나였습니다.
제 생각에는 그때 이후로는 한 번도 그 나라 팀도 중국팀을 이겨본 적이 있은 것 같지 않아요? 예.
근데 사실 그때 저희가 이길 때도요.
네.
기적에 가깝다고 했었어요. 제 생각에도 이길 거다라고는 생각을 못했어요.
이야, 그래요?
예.
그때 그 북한도 TV로 그걸 다 방영했는데 그때 이미지가 그때 준 그런 충격이 상당히 강렬했어요. 북한함이 저렇게 유일팀을 만드니 그렇게 강적 중국도 금방 허문에 그게
제가 말씀드리고 싶은 부분.
그게
무서울 게 없다. 남과 북이 합치면 제가 지금 이제 어떤 학생들한테 얘기할 때도 뭐라 해야 되냐면 그때가 일본 땅에서 일본이었잖아요.
그렇죠.
남과 북이 합쳐져서 중국을 이겼다. 이거는 되게 역사적인 일이에요.
그건 정말 우리가 영원히 가슴에 안고 성을 낸 날까지 가야 할 중요한 메시지라고 생각합니다.
맞습니다. 예. 저도 그렇게 생각합니다.
이거 제가 그 북에 있을 때 한번 이제 그 현정화 감독님하고 좀 한번 제가 잘 하진 못하지만 그래도 한번 좀 탁구라도 좀 같이 쳐보고 근데 좀 한번 오늘 시간 좀 내주시면 감사하겠네요.
여기까지 오셨는데 탁구 한번 치셔야
정말 영광입니다. 예. 한번
이쪽에서 마켓으로. 그게 아니라 유니폼을 입고 오신 이유가 있으시네.
감사합니다. 여기다 좀 해주세요. 뒤에다가 크게 좀 하나.
날짜도 쓰겠습니다.
네.
감사합니다.
예.
되게 대 영광입니다.
So, you just came back from playing table tennis with a former South Korean athlete, Hyun Jung-hwa. How did that happen? What was that like?
To be honest, it was my long dream to meet her in my life.
Really?
Yes, because Hyun Jung-hwa was the first South Korean athlete who played together with a North Korean athlete in ping pong, and that match was broadcasted by North Korean the official TV.
So people in North Korea actually know Hyun Jung-hwa.
Oh yes, but now how time flies, it's quite. I think it was more than 20 years ago. Yes,
It was back in 91, 92.
Oh,
so
yes, that's right. Yes, I think sports is the only place where North and South Koreans are communicating freely, and sometimes in a very more friendly way. And sometimes North and South Korean athletes they contest each other on the scene, but as soon as the match is finished, they always come together and then shake hands, embrace each other. They really share of the feeling of same nation and the same blood. And that is the actual sin which I wanted very much in diplomatic,
Right.
the arena. For instance, in UN, the meetings or international meetings, sometimes North and South Korean diplomats, are debating or quarreling or sometimes, criticizing. So the mood was very hostile and intense, in official scenes. But like Olympic Games, when the meeting is finished, then I would prefer that North and South diplomats come and shake hands, chat each other. But so far, both North and South Korean diplomats are very cold each other. They do not have, they do not share, these kind of feelings of compatriots. But that's why after I defected to South Korea, whenever I meet South Korean diplomats, I always tell them that if you meet North Korean diplomats in unofficial, the area, please, try to approach them and then greet them with the feeling of same nation. And
Then, so many North Koreans are in the know about how developed South Korea is.
yes,
And there are diplomats like yourself who get to really experience the Western world, but at the same time, get to see how South Korean diplomats are living, are working, and under what condition. Is there a higher sentiment of the urge for unification amongst those group of people than the average North Koreans, would you say?
so far, the people in North Korea have seen the reality of South Korea, the level of the South Korea's economic development through the cultural contents made in South Korea. But up to now, all these, the awareness came from just curiosity, and they did not put a kind of, critical analysis of a North Korean system and North Korean society. That's why I'm always advocating that we should diversify, the contents of dramas or films, or I think we should make a kind of, tailor-made the contents for just North Koreans in order to educate or bring back, the basic sense of right of human beings to North Korea, so that, that is the way to educate and enlighten the North Korean people, because they have been brainwashed for 60 years, and now is the time to do a kind of, the tailor-made contents to educate North Korean people.
In your view, what would you say is the most feasible way of reunification of the Korean Peninsula?
If we look back the history of the communist movement in Europe, all of those, the socialist system in Eastern Europe collapsed by the people's, uprising or resistance. For instance, in East Germany, one day, people just came into the streets, they climbed the Berlin Wall, and thousands of people, escaped from East Germany to Hungary. So there was all of a sudden a huge the happenings of refugees, defections of whatever, which brought the whole system down one day. So I could imagine, and also that kind of case which happened in other, former communist countries could also happen in North Korea, because, now most of North Korean people strongly believe that there is no future, on North Korean system.
So I would imagine that there are other North Korean elites who think and who acknowledge the fact that there's no future in the regime, like yourself, is there a possibility of a coup amongst the leadership class who would basically topple Kim Jong-un?
They are in dilemma. For instance, if they ask out, the Kim Jong-un from, the top leadership, then what could be the result of this kind of, the toppling Kim Jong-un regime? If this kind of, the contingency happens, the North Korean elite group is afraid of political revenge by the normal North Korean people. As I have said, the North Korea is a society, you see, with a strict, class system, and majority of North Korean people so far were looked down upon, and they were outside of those government originated, privileges of all these things. So the present elite group is very afraid of this kind of, upside down of the class system. And on the meanwhile, also the Chinese factor as well, because if the present North Korean system crumbles all of a sudden without any preparations, then there is high probability that Chinese would come again to benefit from this kind of chaos in North Korea. So I think the most important thing for us and for South Korea is to let the elite group in North Korea know that the reunification by South Korea would also give them a kind of equal opportunity and benefit to the elite group. There would be no any, the political revenge, and those elite group could enjoy same opportunity or, or the chances they enjoyed in their previous systems, so that we should win the favor of the present North Korean elite.
I was, I was talking to you outside of our set that I have a bit of a difficulty understanding your Korean. So over 7 decades of separation, its language is just one factor that seems to have, I suppose, gone apart, I guess, evolved between the two parts. What are some of the things that you found as key differences?
When I speak, South Koreans can easily detect that I'm from North Korea, because there are some differences in our daily language. For instance, South Korea, you use no thanks like 괜찮습니다. But in North Korea we say 일 없습니다. And it's very difficult for me to change this kind of the most simple thing, because I am so much used to say 일 없습니다, not 괜찮습니다. But whenever, I always remember this, but whenever I say 일 없습니다, then all of a sudden, you see, they start to stare at me. What is he saying?
Since you came to South Korea, do you feel that the South Korean society is ready for reunification?
South Korea is not fully, prepared for a sudden or possible reunification. Many people are talking about the gain or loss.
The cost of unification.
That's right. And many of them are really afraid, of massive, refugees, millions of refugees would come down to South, and it would create a kind of social the problem in South Korean, the society, and even some of them say that North Korea's infrastructures are so much less developed, and it would need a huge, the investment or whatever, which could bring a very negative impact on South Korea. which should prepare a kind of, fourth industrial revolution, So these are the issues are really debated in South Korean society. But I don't think the issue of reunification is something, like gain or loss, What I want to say to South Korean public is that a kind of, the nuclear disaster is approaching towards South Korean population. In order to get rid of that kind of possible nuclear catastrophe, the only way to avoid it is to reunify, the country. And so the reunification issue is the issue of life or death, to South Korean people, not, a kind of, gain or loss issues.
So from someone from North Korea and the North Korean elite group, what would you say to this? There are some foreign experts especially who say that, you know what, reunification, why do you guys obsess over reunification so much? You guys have been living separated for the last 7 decades. Why don't you just carry on your lives separately? So we can just, carry on our lives as South Korea, as North Korea, as recognized by the United Nations as 2 countries. Why don't you just do that? Why all the fuss about reunification?
I am really against,
Really?
on that kind of things. For instance, the only way to harmonize the society and the economy is to merge the 2 systems, 2 people and 2 economy as soon as possible. For instance, if we look back the lessons, in Germany, when West German government prepared the reunification, there was a hot debate what kind of exchange rate they should apply between West German mark and East German mark, because at that time the East German's economy cannot be the match of West Germany. But West German government decided to apply 1-to-1 exchange rate. And at that time, economists, businessmen were strongly against, that means that they would invest, billions of mark to purchase those useless
Right.
East Germany mark, you see. But what the businessmen didn't see that this kind of, quick and sudden emerge of 2 economic system could bring more benefit to German economy. So what happened in Germany now? Even though they invested billions of marks just to get rid of those East German mark, now the whole Germany, the economy of whole Germany prospered. So we should learn from this lesson. If Korea is reunified and South Korea is connected with the China through road system or railway system, I think the road from Seoul to Sinuiju and Dandong, the border city, would be filled of, tens of thousands of Chinese or South Korean cars or trucks or whatever. The present trade volume between China and South Korea, overpass, I think, 100 billion US dollars. So please imagine if we carry all these, the export or import items, by truck or train, to China, how much, economic benefit, we can get, So the only, way, you see, for quick harmonization of these 2 Koreas is to quick merge of society, people, and the economy. And I think the future reunification can be a second leap forward for South Korean economy.
So imagine that the 51 million people of South Korea need to basically, in the beginning, feed the 24 million people of North Korea with a huge wealth difference, right? In the longer term, maybe perhaps that your argument is true, but in the shorter term, so in the next few years after reunification, it would be a burden for South Korea, and it would basically slump down the Korean economy as a whole. No?
I have, the different opinion and approach. If we look deeply into the present economic structure of South Korea, many part of South Korean economy still rely on the original traditional economic, the structure like, the shipbuilding, construction, or steel manufacturing, these things. So what would we do of these, a big and huge manufacturing population, And for instance, in the past, South Korean workers, went to Middle East countries to earn, the hard currency for South Korean economy. But now, is there anybody in South Korea who want to go to desert to build something? I don't know. People, because of the, the raising of living standard of South Korea, those people in that area would not take that kind of job. But if the country is reunified, we need huge, the projects of building infrastructures in North Korea. For instance, the road should be rebuilt, railways, should be, the rebuilt again. Those, the traditional, the economy of South Korea, especially in manufacturing industry, can actually, have a great job market because of this reunification. And I think it would give a kind of very strong impetus to South Korean economy for at least 10 or 20 years.
So basically, you're a strong advocate of Korean reunification on a more national level. On a more personal level, why do you feel so strongly about reunifying the two Koreas?
All my relatives, my brothers and sisters, they are all in North Korea, and it is my dream to walk to my hometown in my life. And I am strongly believing that, the only way to speed up, my dream of going back my hometown is to eliminate, Kim Jong-un, regime from North Korea. I think that is the only realistic way to solve all the problems like nuclear issues or reunification issues, even, my family private issues.
Or even that more North Koreans like yourself who want to actually play table tennis with Hyun Jung-hwa could actually have the opportunity to come to South Korea and play table tennis with her.
Oh, yes, of course,
Right. So we all dream of a reunified Korea as Korean people, but what is your envision or what is your vision of a one Korea?
I definitely believe in, the Korea's reunification, and I also believe that the reunification could come much earlier than we expected, because I can see the change of the mind of North Korean people. The past 10 and 20 years, brought a very big change in the minds of North Korea by watching South Korean cultural contents, films and dramas. And that helped North Korea to fundamentally change their concepts on South Korea. So there is no point for North Korean popular masses to, be afraid of South Korea or to hate, the South Korea. So the level of this kind of, hostility and hatred dropped dramatically thanks to the introduction of South Korean films to North Korea. So I think as the time being, this kind of favorable feeling by North Korean would increase. So if any conflicts, military, the conflicts or, possible, war happens, I think most of North Korean people would not, react like what happened in our first war. So far, we have been very lucky.
And hopefully we'll be luckier in the future with this rise of soft power that we'll see a one Korea, reunified Korea in our lifetimes.
Absolutely, and I want to see that my personal, the ambition to see that within 5 years, and if not 5 years, definitely in 10 years.
All right, well, thank you again so much for your insights and your valuable thoughts today.
Thank you.
The former North Korean diplomat is now determined to devote the rest of his life to reunifying the two Koreas, to bring the freedom that he and his family get to enjoy in South Korea to his loved ones in the North. But that's not just for Thae, because, to quote a former South Korean diplomat to the United Nations, to all South Koreans, North Koreans aren't just anybody's. Millions of us still have family and relatives in the North. And it's heartbreaking to learn of the struggles and atrocities that our people go through on the other side of the border.